Greetings, everyone. Welcome to episode 50 of Aquarian Anarchy. I am Chad. You see Marcus. You see Nico. We are ready to rock. It is a beautiful day. We made it to 50 episodes of this show, and we welcome you aboard. Let me get the banner rocking here.
It's like my fifth day out here.
But now, gentlemen, this is going to be different. We're going to do another episode where it's just the three of us chopping it up. I'm looking forward to that. Everyone, if you can, go and like the episode. Subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. I hope you already are. And share this. 2 shares to speed the spread. Let's never forget that. And also hit the Patreon. Go to aquariananarchy.com. It'll take you to our Patreon there, and you can go and show some monetary love as well. And that'll also at the what is it, at the $5 level, let you into the Anarch chat. Yeah, the Anarch chat, and the Anarch chat is great. Like, we're having some great conversations in there. Daryl is he dropped us some knowledge today. I have been seeing this stuff about HR 127, but I wasn't fully aware. I actually got to read a little breakdown of it, and then I actually read the whole bill, and I was like, God damn, this breakdown on. So we're gonna definitely chop that thing up tonight. I'm excited. This is something that we weren't doing that much of the last few months, and now we're starting to make it more of a regular thing, and I'm enjoying that because it allows us to interact with our audience a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to that. But for now, how you gentlemen been doing?
Good.
I'm been alive. Been alive. That's all that matters right now to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
For me, I'm just glad to not be living in the fuckery that is Washington, D.C. right now, following all this political nonsense. But living my life and doing that and following the freedom train, I guess, looking at the different opportunities that are presenting themselves, from everything from Bitcoin to Cal Exit's kind of kicking off. I've hung out with them 2 weekends in a row. That's been cool. Stuff in the family life is, good with my wife and stuff. Extended family is having some issues, but my family is doing great. So we'll get into all that.
That's good. Yeah, for sure. So I want to. We talked about this in the Anarch chat, but I want to tease that. I want to get to it later.
Right.
The HR 127. What I really want to talk about right now is I want Nico to tell us about what he did today on Facebook, and then just kind of.
It wasn't too much. It wasn't
too much. Well, I don't know. I want to hear. I want to hear how you brought knowledge to the normies and you didn't get assaulted.
Well, it's assaulted yet. It's been on Facebook for a few minutes, but no, it's not too much. And don't take offense to this when I drop this. So, with my little black nationalism,
I don't take offense.
I put a picture of saying that I took a screenshot and I put Jesus the slave boat, and I Googled it. And people don't understand, one of the very first slave boats that came to America was named Jesus. Jesus something. And people don't know that. People really don't know that. So I'm like, well, if you really think about it, they lie to you about history. What else are they going to continue to lie to you about? And I'm going to ruin their appetites on Valentine's Day, about Valentine's Day, because that shit is foul. Like, reading, it was like an old holiday where the priests were like, oh, our warriors fight when they're not with women, so we're gonna marry y'all up together. So they married the men. They had like skin goats and shit, and slapped the women with stripes of goat meat, goat flesh, to try and make them fertile and shit like that. And I was like, oh god, that shit's sick. That shit real sick. So I've just been learning more about like, you know, ancient Cometicism and the sciences behind that and whatever information I get. I actually got to go and grab these 2 books from my boy's crib, but yeah. So, and then I was being sarcastic, but also, you know, being lighthearted. You know, I'm not coming for Jesus because I'm not saying he's not a real figure. We've given him the energy, and if people understand how energy works, then you understand that that man is a healer. That man is a real healer. And then I'm also learning about the secrets in the Bible and how you can learn and use the Bible, certain prayers that represent like certain astrological signs that can help you with certain signs as well. So yeah, no, there's just a lot of shit I've been getting ready to just sprinkle. I told them I'm gonna sprinkle some knowledge like them on crack in the 80s. So you know, I'm gonna just give them, you know, you feel me? Oh, wait, look. I've been off
I just had
of
to because
social
Corey's
medias. I've been
Right.
off of social media so you can kiss my black ass. I've been just minding my business. I've been just on the low, just trying to obtain this knowledge. I'll follow you back, Saul. No, I got nothing.
No, that one's
love for y'all,
Corey. That
baby.
one's
I know-
Corey.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
Corey.
Corey.
Yeah.
My bad. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
my
Corey.
bad, Corey. Yeah, no. I just been in my little zone, just learning, man. I just been learning.
Dropping that shit on him. That's
I had
hilarious.
to, man. I had to. I absolutely had to.
Fucking funny.
Uh,
Call you right
all
out.
right. I am trying
shit.
to
I'm about to
rectify
come back.
this
I'm coming
stream.
back out of my hiatus very soon.
Right.
When this retrograde passes, I got y'all.
You're trying to
There you go.
do what?
I'm trying to reconfigure the whatchamacallit, the Libre thing. It didn't work. So shit. Anyway, so Nico, you bring this stuff. You did this unsolicited. No one. You weren't
No,
like
nobody
responding to
provoked me.
anything that anybody else said. Nobody
no,
provoked you.
nobody said shit. I'm surprised. Look, I've been waiting for my mama getting a gyro. Nigga, I don't want a gyro. Okay. I'm sorry. I've been waiting for like all the like diehard Christians and the Seventh-day Adventists in my family just to like try and come at my neck. And I'm just like, you know, but I have to like calm down on Woosah because it's like ain't nothing but a block button on this bitch. Ain't nothing but a block button. And I'm not offended. I'm not gonna be offended by people taking my rhetoric wrong in the wrong ways. I said, if you get offended by this, you're way too emotional and you don't know how to take a step back and actually view history and certain things of that manner. I need y'all to understand that there's a lot more that goes in depth when it comes to said religion. Like the Bible is spoken in parables. Like if you really understand that bitch, you are a real wizard. If you know how to dissect the Bible, you know what the fuck you can really do with that bitch. Just like the Quran, just like the Torah, all of those books have their knowledge. Like what the fucking redacted do to your ass every day, man. They place it to you in plain sight, but you just can't comprehend it because the common sense ain't too common. You feel me?
Right, for sure. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in there too. Like when you start dissecting the Bible down, woo, you find all kinds of cool shit. I'm not trying to lay another book on you, Nico. You got enough shit to read.
Man, I got like 50,000 books.
Nico's just like he's just like reading a little bit, and then he's like at a buffet. I
gotta jump. I'm jumping. Like I am like a kid with like ADHD who just did a line, and like I just need to like pick out which book I want to do.
Right.
Like for example, I was reading like about the Ankh, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Now let me jump to this astrology. Okay, cool. Now I'm done with this astrology. Let me go jump to this voodoo. Okay, cool. Well, I'm done with this voodoo. Let me go jump to. So I'm just like jumping and then like retaining certain information.
Jump up and get down.
Do you ever find where you are where you're pulling stuff from all these different sources, and then like somehow like they'll like mysteriously connect? Where like you'll be like
they all fucking
you'll be like reading one thing and then you'll go to another thing and be like, damn, I was just reading about that in this other book and they're talking about the same thing right here.
In a general sense, yes. In a general sense, like I have actually this voodoo book was telling me shit about Jesus, for crying out loud, and like how it's connected to saints. And then I'm reading this Ankh book, and the Ankh book relates to how the story of Jesus is basically Osiris being resurrected. And so then I jump from that to no, how to win the game or whatever the fuck it is. It talks about just the same shit. Like they all correlate. They all have little tiny pieces that correlate over time.
For sure.
And if it's not direct, it's like something that's like a little piece of. And now I think about it, so like I remember being at this like video shoot with one of my homies, and a guy was talking to me about how like the pyramids, they got like algae and stuff and on the sea stone or sea whatever, the bricks, and they were saying how they used the certain river to bring out build up the pyramids. And then I go into this other book and that says nah, that is because they use the water to basically create electrical currents and shit like that. So they were the ones who first created the light bulb, but they'll tell your ass in a history book that Thomas Edison was the first one to discover it type shit. Right. So there's so much people need to like really look past before they just said, this is the end all be all. This is what I'm supposed to be understanding in life.
Yeah, that's for sure true too. You know, there's just an awful lot of information out there that you can find. I will advise people though. Benjamin Franklin said that a man of reason can find a reason for anything, and I think that there no truer words have ever been spoke. So you got to be careful and like analyze and figure out your own shit for yourself, because some of the stuff it's in even in regular, you know, like history books, some of that is just supposition and what they think happened or what have you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when you start seeing patterns, I think that the patterns are something that you should follow. And that's true no matter what subject you're talking about, whether it's spirituality, freedom, whatever it is. If you start seeing those patterns repeating themselves, I think that shows you the way, if you will. And the book that I was The book that I was going to not suggest was if you really want to see, the like breakdown of, and again, I find lots of truth in the Bible. I find a lot of truth in Christianity in general. But if you want to see a real good breakdown that will give you pause, warning, if you are about to give up Christianity, this will put you over the edge. And so just tell you. But Thomas Paine wrote a book called The Age of Reason, where he breaks down deism. Yeah, in the second half of the book, he just tears the Bible to pieces. And I mean to pieces. If you think that book is a like, you know, a historical document that is infallible, don't read Thomas Paine. Don't do it. Because he really does rip it apart. If you think
I think it's like what the best description I heard of it was, and it may not be his, it almost definitely isn't. But my little brother, he described, he's like, look, the word Bible like comes from like biblio, which is like it means like library. It doesn't mean book. Mm-hmm. And so when you take it that way, he said, go to a library and what do you find? He said you find poetry books, you find fantasy books, you find metaphorical works of literature, you find historical books, right? You find some inspirational books, self-help books, you know what I mean? Like you find all these different legal books, you know, there's all these different types of books, and so like it's about kind of taking a step back from that stuff and not being so caught up and focused on the legalism. But one of the things that's really funny to me is that sometimes people will take even Christianity, which was like was looking at how some of the Pharisaical things that were going on with in Jesus' time, and then they take Christianity and they turn it into that. Right. And it's like, what do you do? Like, you're seriously gonna like try to like persecute someone over the fact that they did something that wasn't exactly by the letter of this, you know, they didn't pray right or whatever the hell the thing is, they didn't eat the right food or and I'm Catholic, so like a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of stuff that like even Catholics have gotten like really, really mixed up around like a legalistic way of looking at this stuff. But I wanted to say this. You're talking about reason and all, like back to that book that I just spoke about last week, The Righteous Mind. The way that the author describes the way that the human mind works, human consciousness. He's like, we like to think that we are like this elevated state of consciousness is like super reasonable and is only looking at and super rational and is only looking at rational fact-based stuff. But he said the reasoning part of our mind is like the rider on an elephant.
Yeah. And
he said like you might be able to like turn the elephant's head, but really what happens is the elephant decides it wants to go somewhere, and so you kind of like figure, and that's your emotions. Like our so much of what we think is just pure reason is actually led by our emotional responses, our gut reactions to stimuli. And it's really hard. Like we all have our different ways of how we got here. That's why we always are so fascinated by how you got here so early, Nico, is because for me and Marcus, like we went through these different phases of thinking we were right, and then thinking we were right about thinking that was wrong, and then thinking we were right about that being wrong, and then thinking we were right about that being wrong. And then we finally got to this point where we're like, you know what, I fucking know. But I think this is right, and I'm not going to hurt anybody.
I got to this point because we were hurt by a girl out here. And so it's not just that, it's my family. So it's like the two closest things that I've always perceived. So like as of now, I'm learning the concept of family is put here through blood, but your family isn't always your family type. So it's really funny how like it correlates with like always sitting down, and my grandmother would be like reading or having me and my brothers read parts of the Bible and scriptures of the Bible, and then all of a sudden years later I'm like, things are happy-go-lucky with a certain girl of mine, and then we break up because of the differences. Well, I broke up with her because I just couldn't see myself fitting in with her family and how the differences were just so heavy and other things of that nature. But it was a real eye-opener. And just now it's an eye-opener on how I perceive what family is now. And, you know, so there's so many things that you think you're right about. You think that, you know, you're right about always having to be loyal to your family. And I am somebody who is ride or die for the people. But, you know, when you start to get older and perceive certain things in a different light, you most definitely can start moving differently. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the argument to why we should focus more on just love and compassion in our lives, because we don't know what the fuck we're going to know tomorrow. You know, we just don't. But you know that, you know, somebody that's been good to you, for instance, you know, I've been married for going on 12 years, been with her for over 12. And Chad's been with his wife forever. You know, she's been given. Right. And my wife's been good to me for, you know, for years. And so I should put my energy towards that shit. And, you know, I know that by, you know, stopping drinking this shit and by drinking more water and eating the right shit, that's going to be good for my body. That's going to help me out too. You know, we focus too much on just nonsense. And that's not to say that some of the stuff that we do isn't important. You know, we're going to talk about this HR 127 here in a few minutes about them taking away guns and bullshit like that. And that shit's important, and it's good to know that. But we shouldn't lose sight on that love is going to get us through. It's not going to be some asshole in a suit that gives the right speech that gets enough people to understand some shit. That's not the way it works. How it works is enough people realize that you don't need to force people to do shit, and then presto, you're free.
Yeah. Well, and like, I want to get into not just that HR 127, but like how we create solutions for whether it happens or not. And like, and also how we can try to work to help prevent it, I guess. I also have some thoughts on that. Before we do that, I have to, it's right here, and give a special shout out to Gigi in the Libre chat. By the way, we are live on LibreTV.co. I got the link fixed, so we are there. So if you're not already there right now watching, go there, because that's where you can give us money like Gigi did. She donated $10 to the show. Shout out to her. If I had confetti, I would be busting confetti all over the place right now.
Look, if you want me to start stretching or stripping, I will. Like, I'll make this an interesting show. Like, we appreciate that. Much love. Much love.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Okay. So anyway, she says, shout out to the fellas. I'm trying to listen, but I scared you. I'm scared you will put that clown up again. I'm not going to put the clown up. I promise you. That's all you had. Look, I might start. Yeah, we'll see. What I might start doing, I might start threatening people with the clown if they don't. So no, I'm just joking. I don't believe in threatening people, but I promise that I won't put the clown up today, because I wouldn't do that to you. That $10 is too sweet.
What you gonna do it to me?
Right. Right. Fuck you, Nico.
Hey, look, I wasn't threatening you. I was just fucking with you. But no. So
we're a quarter of the way done with Black History Month. What the fuck are you talking about?
I got another few days. I got another few days. All right. Look, I will milk this shit, okay? I will milk what it owes to me.
Oh my god,
it was funny, dude. When I was on, it was.
We just lost a bunch of viewers, Marcus. Outright racism.
Right. It was so fucking funny on because Adam was on the thing this weekend with Cal Exit, and fucking.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see that.
Right, and Nicholas Wildstar was on there too. So Marcus Ruiz Evans and Nicholas Wildstar. Wildstar, by the way, going to be on Aquarian Anarchy coming soon.
Yep.
But and Adam, we're all like, we're people of other different races who have been called, and I think this was Marcus Ruiz Evans, who've been called, white nationalists. I got you beat. I've been hanging out with a bunch of hoteps. I'm a white dude that's been called a black nationalist. So power to the black people.
We love it like that.
Oh shit.
So
that's funny.
Right. So I got to be one up and then them motherfuckers this past weekend. It was hilarious. So
that shit is bad funny.
Yeah, I had a question for y'all. There's one of the people that her name's Sue, great lady. She's a hardcore liberal, and so right.
That was for Nico.
Right.
Oh, he didn't see it. There you go, Nico.
One piece per donation.
So she's a hardcore liberal, but she's like part of the Yes California Cal Exit group, and she's relatively influential in that group. Well, Adam's doing a special on secessionists here next week, and I was wondering while we're here if you guys think we should have somebody else from Cal Exit on, because she was like, well, you already have two people for Adam's thing, so I was thinking about inviting her to come on here. And
if we can find somebody from the Texas to kind of get that alternative perspective, because that's the thing that I think what we're dealing with here is you have the two spouses in a messy marriage that don't want to be married anymore, and they both have their reasons. So let them just break up, sure. And we don't have to call anybody names. Just be like, hey, you go do your thing. We're gonna go do our thing. That's it.
Right.
People have a difficulty with that, letting people do their own shit.
Right. And that's, that's what these authoritarian assholes take advantage of, man. These psychopaths will sit and a bunch of people call for, we got to control this group of people because of this, that, and the other thing. I'll be like, well, we'll just pass legislation, protect you right up, and pocket the money. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they don't even fucking follow the rules that they be placing on other y'all. So it's like, do y'all like this? This makes me want to smack like the people who are double masked up. Oh my God. I was at work the other day and I saw somebody with 2 masks on, and I have shitty eyesight. So I had to like go in and like I squinted at them just to like really see what was on their face. And I'm seeing like people are actually wearing double masks. And I'm like, how sorry for offending anybody, but how retarded are y'all for you to really, really, really think that 2 masks is going to protect you from something that's a virus? Like,
my favorite thing, like for the longest time, is my wife got one of the decent, like not like the top of the line masks or whatever, because she has to wear it for work. And but she got one of the pretty good ones, and so she vapes too. And so she's blowing vape out of this mask. And I'm like, how the fuck is that going to protect anybody from anything if it can't stop vape? My favorite quote, and I don't remember where
she's vaping through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you smoked and blow through it.
Right. One of my favorite, somebody said this, I don't remember who it was, but somebody in my sphere said this. They said, if you can smell a fart through through your mask, it ain't protecting shit. So
I mean, and on top of that, you bring you dig into the crib, and it's not like you can't contaminate your crib with a mask that you keep wearing every day.
Right.
Right. So on that note of what y'all were talking about with the rules for one group of people and not for another group of people, and how you have all this different like arbitrary stuff. This HR 127 is pretty wild. So how do you want can you pull the article up, Marcus?
No, but
I
can, but I took notes, so I've got
that.
What? I got notes. Yeah, I got bullet points.
Well, because I was going to go through, because I was going to pull up the actual bill, and because I wanted to go through, because I thought it was really funny that this article from FPC.
I can look it up if you want me.
For those of you who don't know, it's the Firearms Policy Coalition. They're a really good group. Maj does a lot of work with them. And they do a lot they're doing a lot of legal work. Like they go to court and like fight these cases. They go to the Supreme Court. They're at like U.S. district courts and all this stuff. So they're fighting a lot of this stuff. Well, they pretty much exposed this HR 127, and I'm reading this article that they put out, this synopsis of it, and I mean the language is like really, really like it sounds propaganda. It's like. So basically, they're going to get your ex-wife to snitch on you. And then I read the bill, and it's like, no, they really fucking have it in the bill to where your ex-wife can say that you're not mentally fit to own a weapon, and that's grounds for them taking your rights away.
For sure.
And they'll fine you. The fines is like $150,000. There's another one that's up to $100,000. And it's like up to 30 years in prison and all this stuff for like not filing your paperwork in time or something.
On top of
not having all your shit.
If you had somebody who didn't agree with your views on guns, and say if you were to give your gun to like your little brother to shoot it, you could get up a fine up to $2,000 to $5,000, and you can get up to 5 to 10 years of jail. And I'm like, huh, Keisha? Try again?
Right. Like. Yeah. And all you got to know is this thing is sponsored by Sheila Jackson Lee, and this bitch
doesn't have any co-sponsors yet. But
right.
So I'll say it now because Daryl was saying, he's like, "What do you say? Why won't you say what you want what you were going to say?" I'm like, I'm saving it for the show. So this is my thing. So I want to go through the bill in a minute. What I'm going to preface it with is what my take on what this is designed to be. This is just the I don't know, trial balloon or whatever you want to call it that drags the Overton window far enough to that side of things, because then what we're going to get is we're going to get some sort of compromise that's nowhere close to as bad as this, but is way worse than the current paradigm. And the current sucks anyway, compared to like real legitimate freedom. And so what they'll do is they'll float something like this out there, drive the argument over to this side and make everyone back to, oh, well, okay, but we'll just ban these certain weapons. We'll ban these types of, cartridges. We'll make it to where you can't have certain things like what they did with the bump stock ban and all these other different. It's always you're dealing with Fabian socialists. You're dealing with people who back to the metaphor that I made when we were talking with Dan Behrman. They're okay when you're dealing with someone evil. They're okay with dripping poison into the water supply little by little.
Right.
And we have a hard time sometimes making those incremental improvements towards freedom because we can't settle for not getting rid of all the poison at once. And so that's the struggle that we have sometimes is how do we work our way out of this? How do we back the tick out of us to get this stuff to a more free place? So that's where I think that was my impression of this, is that I'm going to say there's a 0% chance that this thing actually, gets passed and gets signed into law, but a damn close to 0% chance that this particular bill gets passed and signed into law. The problem I see is what is this thing going to birth that is actually going to be the legislation.
It's going to be so disgusting how restricted, and like you said, it's going to be a give and take, so we don't know how far they're going to push on this, but we don't know how much we're going to take back. But it's going to be sick to the point where, like, Chad, you're out here and you have your guns registered and you're teaching your boys how to shoot, and then your neighbors, here's the crow, and they're like, oh, Chad's busting them guns, time to send this boy to jail. And it's like, it's not going to be fair because of all of the minute restrictions people don't understand. It's taking away more and more. I honestly think if we went back to a Wild Wild West time where everybody and their mama had a pistol, Pete, this wouldn't be a problem. This really would not be a problem.
For sure. But Chad's absolutely right. They're going to float this out as the boogeyman. They're going to float it out as the thing you got to fear. What my prediction is they'll go to the high capacity magazines. What they'll drag from this is the fact that you one of the lines in the bill, and I suggest people look it up. It'll pop right up if you do a search just about anywhere. HR 127. It's called Sabika or something. Sabika Sheikh, and which I don't know where the hell that name came from. I didn't get far enough into it to find out.
I can't find it. And I didn't bother to Google where it came from. But I had the same question. I was like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? And I know the Brady bill had, there's got to be some similar type of reasoning where there's somebody tied to this, but it was bizarre. It's like the weird way to introduce it, and then it's so freaking oppressive.
Right. Well, what I was saying was what they'll drag out of this. I think what they'll drag out of this bill is somebody's going to be a mass shooting or whatever emergency they can use to their advantage. And, whatever they set up and plan through the CIA, let's be clear, because that's what the fuck they did. Or they'll set up some crazy kid with the FBI and push him down the road, whatever they do, which is what government does in these circumstances. Anyway, some craziness will happen. Somebody gets shot up, whatever it is. And they'll throw this out and be like, oh, we got to do this. And then everybody will go, no way we're going to do that. And and they'll push it down. But what I think will happen is they'll say, okay, fine, you keep your fucking guns, you can keep your guns, but you got to control those magazines. I think what they're going to go after is they're going to go after high capacity magazines, and they're going to go after how much ammunition is on the market, because they've learned that people don't pay attention to ammunition. And the proof of that, for one, Alex Jones broke this years ago, the way they're using different federal departments to buy up ammunition. They've been doing that shit forever now. And, you know, because everybody knows the Department of Education needs a SWAT team, but they'll do what they can to pull the ammunition off. I saw this right after coronavirus hit, and they sent out the stimulus checks. I did what every good anarch does with the stimulus checks: Bitcoin and guns and seeds. That's what I bought with the stimulus. Facts. Right. And so I went and bought a shotgun. Well, they only had, and this was in a big, I live near Indianapolis. This was in a huge gun shop in Indianapolis. They had 6 boxes of shells total in the entire store. I got 2 of them. Yeah, they wouldn't let me. I tried to take all 6. I'm like, give me them.
What is it? Not Saul, but Daryl brought up a good point.
Yeah, no, that's that was I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
They will most definitely know where you are hiding and what you. So most definitely
what he's about specifically is they're going to make this public. It's going to be public record that everybody like somebody down the street. You know, we're supposed to keep the bad guys from getting guns, and so what we're going to do is we're going to tell them where all the guns are and where you're storing them in your house, who has them, and where you're storing them, so they can go get them, and then they can go hold up a liquor store. What the fuck kind of bullshit reasoning is that?
I need with your gun, this place to light up. Like people were paying attention to Trump. Like, you know, only people who only use guns are paying attention to this. And even if you don't use guns, it's the common sense of protection, and they're limiting the amount of protection you can use for yourself. Like it doesn't take a monkey and a wrench to repair a whole car now, but it's like it's very simple to understanding the concept of, okay, well, what do I have to protect myself? Bat. Okay, well, police have guns. Well, I would like to order one, but I'm in Chicago. So therefore, it's a little bit more difficult for a little black boy such as myself to have a gun, because, you know, right around the corner, you'll most definitely hear shots, and those aren't fireworks. You most definitely hear the corner rat-a-tat-tat. And I go down the street and they pull me over for whatever reason. They see I have a Floyd card. Oh, well, time to see what he has. Does he have in the trunk? This, that, and the third. And any suspicion, because driving while black is a thing, you know, they can pull me out my car, check the gun, check if I have it, and if it's loaded, I'm really, really fucked. So they just keep making it more difficult, and you can just pay attention to all the states and how they correlate with the politics. If they're more so Democratic leaning or liberal, they're going to take your guns away. But if they're Republican, they're saying gung-ho, go ahead, load up, but we'll buy a majority of the bullets.
Right. And the thing is, you're right. They're just putting barricades in front of people, trying to stop them from being able to protect themselves from government. To be clear, when they're not trying to stop you from being able to protect yourself from some thug down the road. No, that's not what they're trying to stop you from protecting yourself. They want that thug to beat you up so that you have to go to the police, or you have to go to the government for help. That's for sure. But the number one impediment that I saw immediately when reading this bill was dollar signs after dollar signs after dollar signs. They are making it damn near impossible for a poor person to own any kind of firearm, because you have to, one, you know, the fact that Chad brought up a moment ago, where you know, your ex-wife could be brought in to testify. For one, you have done nothing wrong. Okay, you know, self-defense is a natural right, but you've done nothing wrong. But your ex-wife can now be brought in to make sure that you can't fucking get a gun. That's some bullshit. But you're having to do that with somebody who has a psychology degree. So not only, and Chad dropped out. I don't know what happened, but
bye, Chad.
Well, he's not completely out, obviously, because we're still live. But at the end of the fucking day, they have basically, you back with us?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm here.
Cool.
I hope the stream is okay.
Right.
Press 1 in the chat if that did not fuck the stream up.
Right.
Jeez. Anyway,
So
sorry. Go ahead. Continue your point.
So at the end of the day, what is going on is that they're fucking making it expensive because that lawyer's gonna, or that psychologist or whatever is going to cost money to go see. And if they're having to interview your wife, they're having to interview your friends, they're having
a good old check.
Right, they're going to make that really fucking expensive, and so the regular people won't have access to guns. One of the things I also saw is they said, well, if you got an older gun, and you're going to have to, because in this bill you're going to have to provide if you've got an older gun, we'll give you 3 months to tell us when, where, and how you bought it. 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
If you bought some shit like, 6 years ago, like, you're going to have the receipt.
Stuff that people, their great grandfather gave it to them and shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
I have some stuff. My dad and I have some stuff that, like, I don't even know who it's from. Like where we go. You know what I mean? Like, it's like people die and like they're like, hey, we got the. It's just. I don't know. They live. My parents are from the country, and like everybody had guns, and there's a wealth of people who die leaving guns behind with no one to take them, and then there's people who are like, yeah, I'll take a couple. So there's some old 410s and 12 gauges and 20 gauges and shit like that that way. Then you got to clean them and all that stuff. Hella rusty.
Yeah. They all beat up and old.
Yeah, I like what Natasha said. She said all mine were stolen. I'm with her. They took all mine too. Yeah. They hit her house and they came right to my house, got my guns. They're all gone. I don't know. I didn't report them. Sorry.
Right. And that's another dumb thing. So if I don't report my gun, I mean, granted, you have to report your gun, but like, say if like I don't report my gun and somebody else is using it, I'm going to get caught the fuck up. Like, huh? Like,
look, I know got this lake backyard. Like it's just fuck. There's mad accidents. I'd be like looking, tripping, and dropping them. Right there. And then there's like we got nutria rats and all kind of other stuff in the lake, and they like pick stuff up, take it. They might have taken that stuff and built a dam out of my guns. I don't know where they are.
Right, for sure. The thing is. When you outlaw everything, everybody becomes an outlaw. It's that fucking simple.
So what is the possible solutions for us to get out of this little fuckery? Do we have the people? Do we have the people all just come together and we just do that one head nod and then we just like get the clacking, or like how does this work?
So the boog is a thing. I think I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope we're able to some other stuff before we get there. But other options are, and this is another thing that is really, y'all got to join the Anarchy chat. It's awesome, and Daryl has brought like some real cool knowledge and stuff like that, and some resources. Yeah, so there's places where you get blueprints and everything. You can get the files, the CAD files online, and 3D printers are not too expensive. There's ways to print. Now you have to get some of your machined parts and everything. I mean, that's another thing too, is that more expensive and it takes more time and resources to, but it's totally doable, and there's nothing stopping you from doing it, from machining your own your own guns that way. And I know some people here who actually make their own ammo and everything. So there's ways to do that stuff. I mean, it's just going back to the old days when they used to make all their own anyway. I mean, like the fucking, it wasn't like you went to the factory in 1736 and bought your Smith and no fucking. You had a blacksmith that's all this stuff, and anyway, it's a process. Now there's certain certain things, certain specs that you have to be very, very particular about, that the shit fires right and is safe and all that stuff. But
yeah.
Shit, we lost Chad again.
I thought that was me. I was so scared because
stuff,
like my dad's downstairs like listening to this Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech and hitting golf balls, and I'm like,
Chad, you froze
I have
up.
a dream too. Bandit boats.
We missed the end of what you were saying, Chad.
Cool. Oh well,
you're alive.
It'll be all right. There's great technology out there. I've seen some really cool demos of like people doing this shit, and it's really badass.
For sure.
And the resources, the cost is not that high. If you really think about all the stuff that and I know Saul said he fucked up. He bought beer and paid bills with his stimulus check. But there's for a very low bar to clear to get stuff going, you can actually get some pretty badass stuff when you're away. I gotta answer Saul though. Part of what I said was that with that stimulus, I went out and bought myself, and this is the first one, not the $600 bullshit. And I want to be clear, I don't think that they should have stole any money to give me money, but they did. And then what am I going to do? Give it to give back on that to the people that stole it? They stole the shit from me anyway. Yeah, they stole the shit from me anyway. Like, no, I paid paid a lot of money in theft.
Right.
So like, if they're going to give some of it back to me, I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it right back and start making it work.
For sure.
So,
but what part of what I bought was seeds and shit for my garden, and that extra money. You're right. It went to my bills. It went to food. I'm still eating canned food that we grew this past summer. So did go. Yeah, we still have tomatoes. We still have quite a bit of canned food.
Oh wait, you preserve your food?
Oh, that was Corey. My bad. That was Corey.
Throw that in the chat because it wasn't so.
Throw what in the
chat? No, I need to learn how to start preserving foods because once this bullshit snow is done in Chicago, I'm gonna turn both of my my garden beds, and I got a whole bunch of compost that's just sitting and probably frozen right now that I can throw in it. But I'm getting ready to start learning hydroponics, because I'm sick of these GMO oranges and shit. I mean, I want oranges that have seeds in them, damn it. And so it's y'all
got fruit stands and stuff that you can go to, at least like a local
we had a market, farmers market. There's one. There's two of them that I know of. I've been to one of them. That's out in the suburbs, but the one out here, the last time I talked about it, it was closed. But I have seeds hanging up in my bedroom. Like I have like a whole bunch of seeds that's hanging up. So I'm just getting ready to start next year. I'm just waiting for the season to clear and shit like that.
Yeah. What I've done slowly. Much love, Corey. Sorry, credit to Corey.
Corey sounded like a DM. I put that thing out that if you had 24 hours to live, what would you do? Because I was listening to that old Mace song with the Locks and DMX and everything. Corey sounded like that. He's like, "You will remember my name. I wanted to live forever. This was in vain." 24
Minute, Chad.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Marcus. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just saying.
I was in mid click when you started talking, and I had already put it up.
It's all good.
I had that bar off, so
it's all good. No, but what we did was we just kind of we started with water and got it to where we got a filter and like a gravity filter, and we handled water first because that's one of the first things you're going to need. So Nico, it's just a process. We've slowly built our, survival stuff, and we're nowhere near done. But we've slowly built over time, and because it doesn't have to be built in one day. You can, every little bit you can do, it moves in that direction. Canning's not that hard once you get the right amount of. And you look at me talking. Amber's doing this shit. I'm just like handling stuff.
There you go, babe.
right. You go. But anyway, but it's not that hard to do once you have the right equipment.
Facts.
So, but that's what it's about, man. That's how we get free. It ain't by fucking petitioning some asshole. How we get free is by handling ourselves.
Is there any other world events that we have yet to cover? Because like I said, I haven't paid attention to anything of the media, and it's been great, man. It's been love. Other than I heard like T.I. apparently has a sex trafficking ring like little Jeffrey Epstein. So, you know, I mean, granted, I don't pay attention to knick-knack news, in other words, but is there anything else that besides the crazy ass
Trump
bill
impeached again?
Oh, he got impeacched again?
Yeah, he's not even in office. These motherfuckers
just to make sure the motherfucker can't mess it up.
Yeah, man, they're putting some crazy videos together of like all this stuff where they're like, it'll be like video of him talking and then video of people breaking windows and stuff and all that stuff. And I'm like, bro, like y'all just let it go. Like L1, like whatever. Let's just move on. Like it's so stupid.
What they're doing is they're throwing CNN a bone, man. They're like, I know that you're sad. You went down like 40%. Here's some Trump shit for you to cover.
Well, look, once 2021 is over with and they can't grift off Trump anymore, it's going to be very, very funny. It's going to be very funny how this news is going to start working. But wearing double mask, come on now. You know we got to stay protected. You know, sometimes I triple mask up, baby. You know,
put 20 of the damn things on.
You got to have one on the mask.
Y'all see that picture of Fauci?
Yeah.
Somebody had a picture of Fauci and he had like a thing out to here of masks. It was like 25 masks all the way out to here. Like he looked like Snuffleupagus on Sesame Street.
Like a blue Snuffleupagus.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny shit. The thing is, one of the things that this whole, you know, thing that we're not supposed to talk about because they'll shut us the fuck down. This whole thing has shown how fucking stupid people are. Just how dumb. You know, it's not like I've got a medical degree. I don't. I have a degree in funeral service, but I learned enough shit from that funeral service degree to know that how you get through fucking viruses and bacteria and all that bullshit into the mask. It's not a talisman, I swear to God. You know, you don't matter if you put a little cross on it. Doesn't matter.
No, I flush the air every time I walk somewhere.
It's just as effective. Right.
Well, and the other thing is too, like if you think about it, it's almost like it's like wearing the same underwear like all the time, unless you have multiple those things and you're in, except like because that thing you're breathing stuff in, and like probably every hour or two you should be swapping it out with a
yeah.
That shit gets expensive.
The Germans created the underwear you could wear for 3 years straight. I mean, come on.
I seriously didn't know you were a mortician. How the fuck did you not know that? You said it like 15 times.
I know.
Man, pay attention, Saul. And I know that Saul. I saw that. See, here's the problem. Corey and Saul, Corey's getting mad at me because I said Saul something that he said, but Corey's things as corrected fell, and Saul says Lee Ray TV Saul G because he has to do that for Unc so that Unc actually pronounces it right. Because Uncle just like he's like libert. I can't. Anyways, shit like that. But I'm just fucking with you, Unc. I love Unc. But no, Saul didn't know you were a mortician, man. That's like he said he's out. Can't take it anymore.
I know. Dude,
I'm just thinking of you. That John Candy scene from Home Alone where he talks about like the little kid that they left him in the funeral home with the body.
Oh, yeah.
In the
right.
He's like, oh, but he was fine. You know, came around, started talking after a few weeks. That's Saul. Saul's that little kid, man.
Right. But the thing is, though, one of these days, dude, we're all gonna get to fucking together. I don't give a shit. One of these days, we're gonna have a big ass party somewhere. Probably your house, Chad. Just to be blunt, probably gonna happen.
I mean, we got depending on when.
So we're good.
Depending on when HotepCon happens, that's one that we can
try to.
We can target.
Yeah, you got to definitely let me know when. Is it going to be this year?
I'm no longer a broke boy.
I mean, we were going to try to do it. We were going to try to do it this year. I don't know when. That's just stay tuned. Join the Hotep Nation chat to get the latest on all that stuff. But the other thing is they're doing another solutionary summit. I think in Miami this year. Like in the summer, I think. So we're not that far away from that. But yeah, it's we definitely need to all get together. I can't wait for that to be able to see all these people in the flesh. Like I that was one of the cool things about the Solutionary Summit in Atlanta. That's where I met Saul and Corey.
To Atlanta. Yeah, he inviting us right now. Atlanta don't close for shit apparently, so we over there. Your house open, Corey?
Right.
I'm gonna dap you up. If John Krasinski can kiss that fucking producer on Saturday Night Live for a bit, we can shake hands and we can dap it up.
Do you think?
No, we gotta record it. We have to record it. You gotta look at the old severe 80s commercial and you dap up your partner. It's like we're staying safe.
Right, for sure. But what I was saying is one of these days, fucking Saul's gonna get to hang out with us one of these days, man. The stories we will fucking scare the shit out of him with. It will be hilarious.
I gotta get my son.
Why are you trying to traumatize the brother?
I gotta get my son. I have a clown mask. I'm gonna wear it next time. No, I told Gino I wasn't gonna do anything clown related tonight.
Is what you're telling
me. I'm not gonna do it. I swore an oath. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna hold back. But no, so I do want to talk about what Ebony brought up, because that is really interesting. I've been noticing that too. So if you want to drop a little bit more detail, Ebony, about this. So they're doing this thing in China where they're actually they're not happy with the masculinity of their boys.
Yeah.
And so trying to beef that up. And what are we doing over here?
Oh shit.
The exact opposite.
Right. Oh shit. Man, they about to get ready for war and just kung fu kick our ass.
Look, man,
y'all gotta stop it.
So, man, you read that shit. It's not about being made and then trying to just go have a Starbucks and read poetry or some shit. All that stuff is nice, but goddamn, you better be able to fucking do a push up or a pull and defend yourself, because the wilderness is going to kill you, and then there's crazy people out there that will do it too.
By the time China is really going to be invading and allegedly try and run up in America, their dudes the Chinese men will be looking to fight our women over here because they want to be just as masculine as us. It's a very, very difficult and strange time where men don't want to be men no more, and then girls want to take that role. And I mean, you can't interchange them. That's just not how life works. And so, being a cis male gender, because, we gotta be polite out here. I'm illegal. I'm illegal on the streets. I'm an illegal product on the streets. If I have an opinion on, anything, patriarchy, you motherfucker, just shut up. I'd be like, bro, no, nature just explains or shows what specific, masculinity is necessary or what femininity quality is necessary. And it's going to be a scary time when, people really can't distinguish, oh, well, there's a difference when there's a fat ass difference. And we're here, but it's we're not already, we're not all the way taken over, because, there's still cis male genders out here.
Well, first of all, I get it, Nico, what you're saying. I understand. I'm not fucking adopting that bullshit. I'm what's commonly known as a man. and that's all there is needs to be said. You know, I don't give a fuck if some dude's fucking some other dude. I don't care. Go have fun, whatever floats your boat. There are two genders. There might be some people that are kind of in between because of some kind of genetic problem. I get that. I got it. Treat them just like everybody else. I'm good with it. I can treat everybody the same and still be a man. I could still be male. I could still be a man. I could still think that gay people are fine.
It was what was lost was the trials of being a man. So, you know, back in the day when the Native Americans or whatever group, you had a trial to present yourself as being a man. Now every man is coddled and sucking on their mom's tit, and they don't grow away from that. They don't understand of being the leader, being the focuser. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a mama's boy, but there's something wrong with being a mama's boy when you know for a fact, like, it's not supposed to resonate at that specific time. You got to get up and get out of yourself. We don't have these mentally grueling challenges anymore. It's all about work. It's all the idea of being a man isn't just doing what a man does. It's the understanding of how you're supposed to perceive things as a man. So that's what they've most definitely stripped away from, you know, boys of this boys, because it's not men. Like, it's a lack of men, to be honest. So it's
real
interesting.
Yeah, and it's been pulled away since I was a kid, since Chad was a kid. The thing is, it's only been a generation ago that shit still existed, you know. And you know, when I was growing up, you did the stupid shit that you do when you're a teenager. You go out, you party, you get drunk with your friends in the woods, you beat your brother up because he did something stupid. You get in trouble, you know. And when the cops come,
I did that. I didn't get drunk. Yep. I did do that. Me and my brothers fought.
Right. Well, I did the drunk.
They fought with each other before. They were close in age. But like, you did all that shit, and then you like, it was kind of like a rite of passage too, right. Where like it was like feats of strength. It was like Festivus. It was like, all right, we're gonna see who can beat the shit out of the other one, and then afterwards we're gonna still be cool, and we're gonna go play Nintendo. You know, right. Like. But you played outside more than they play outside now.
Right. But the state has done away with all that. And how they've done away with all of that is like, if you're saying, you know, I remember my first party, I was 14 years old, my first real party where everybody's getting drunk, and I got shit faced at 14, and, you know, my parents didn't know about it. None of that crazy happened. But if a cop had come out there and found a bunch of kids, number one, he'd have to catch us. We'd have ran out into the middle, because that did happen a couple times. We'd ran out into the woods, do whatever the fuck we're gonna do. But if they caught us, all the cops gonna do is take you home, make you tell your parents you're out get drinking.
Tell your parents,
and that was the end of that. Now you're talking. You're going to juvie for drinking a beer with your friends at 17. You know, the nonsense that they have demasculinized our entire culture, and every single thing that it means to be a man is evil now. You know, fuck all that. And why the Chinese are doing it is because they have no doubt what the hell they're trying to do. They are trying to conquer the world. Now, our government
they're about to show like who's got the bigger dick. That's what they're about to do. I mean, it's like that's about what they're about to do.
Drop the pants. Like, who's got it?
Yeah. I mean, and when China introduced, it's been a few years ago, but I remember because I was still a neocon when this shit went down. But fucking China rolled out a whole new fleet of boats and said, this is all paid for from just the interest on what you owe us. We bought this with your money. Thank you. When they're doing that shit, we know we have lost. And now they're going to up being, they've done emasculated their enemy. They've already, these people that think that the Chinese are stupid, they are not fucking stupid. They are smart. They're statists, but they're smart.
The long game, man. They've been playing the long game since, every, like for crying out loud, since the Ming Dynasty damn near. Like they've been playing and plotting the long game for the longest of times. What they do is they sit back and like, even though I haven't paid a dime attention to China other than like them basically fucking us over as of recently, I know for a fact that they were always an intellectual group in planning of domination. China has always spoke, even about the mangas that I've read. It's about China and, you know, trying to unify China as one. And then not just one, it's going to spread to the world. You know, the unification of underneath one government, one king, one ideology. No, that's just not how the world works. But people not paying attention to it just only gives them more the reason for them to do it. You know, it's, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. So what Ebony said was that she said China's government signaled concern that the most popular male role models are no longer strong athletic figures. Facts. That's the and so to that point, they have like strict policies on like if you want your content, music videos, or anything like that shown to a Chinese audience, they will not allow it over there if you depict Chinese people in any way that meets their little list of no-nos. Like you can't have people stealing, you can't have you can't have them depicted as stupid or anything like. Basically, all the stuff that they were doing to black people in movies throughout like the 50s, 60s, 70s, all that stuff, and 80s. I guess even now, all that stuff. China's like, fuck no, you better delete that shit, take that shit out. And so like you have to consult with them to let and tell you what can and can't be in your movie. Otherwise, you won't be able to reach that huge audience. And so like they know what the fuck they're doing. They're not fucking around with that shit.
That's proper censorship.
She said, yeah, exactly. And she said the proposal to prevent the feminization of male adolescents on schools to fully reform their offerings on physical education and strengthen their recruitment of teachers. Wow, what a fucking novel idea. C. Zaifu, what is that? Anyways, there was a trend among young Chinese males towards feminization, which would inevitably endanger the survival and development of the Chinese nation unless it was effectively managed. So, yeah, I mean, basically, what we're talking about, they're restructuring because of what they saw.
What a man is.
Yeah, what they saw, where they saw the trend was going. They're like, we're gonna redirect this back in this other direction.
Look, if you want something proper, and I stated this in the previous, you have to take care of the person. Once the person is taken care of, then you can like have a person take care of their family, and then the family goes to the community, and the community goes to society. But once that society all has the same common denominator of the lack of the father being in the household, or people being secretly gay, or things being overly extended in America's perception and always pushed, you can psychologically present something and it's just going to do but nothing but eat away at your subconscious and make you think this is how it's supposed to be and presents itself. So it's a vicious cycle psychologically.
Yeah, and they're weakening at the same time that the Chinese government are focusing down on making men men. Our fucking media portrays men as the biggest pieces of shit on the planet, and they portray us as stupid. They portray us as incapable. I had a men's group that we met. It's been several years ago. I'd say about 9 years ago or something. And in that men's group, one of the things that we talked about, we had this guy named Bailey. He was a great guy. If you guys ever got a chance to meet him, I think you'd really like him. But Bailey was kind of a man's man, kind of a tough guy, And he said, I'm expected to be this tough guy all the time. And so there is a balance to be struck for sure. And our society expects certain things from us. I'm supposed to like cars and football. But at the same time, And I don't, to be clear, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against cars and football, but it's just not where my mind goes. Right. But
I'm not a big car guy either, to be honest. I'm just like A to B. That's all I need. I don't need a Camaro and all this, fucking 64 shell or some shit. Like I'm like, that doesn't. They're all cars to me. That's
right. But they expect us to be this stereotypical male who is me big, but at the same time they expect us to be in touch with our emotions. They expect us to like be, I'm so in touch with my feminine side, and you can't have all that shit all at once. You got to let a motherfucker live and be who he is. At the end of the day, you can't wrap any of this, whether China wants to or the US wants to. Everybody's different. And stop fucking trying to make everybody a cookie cutter of anything. And definitely stop trying to make me not be a man. At the end of the day, I like my wife. My wife is an amazing person. I love being with her. And I'm never going to be attracted to some dude. So stop telling me I should be. And nothing against people that are. I'm just not.
Right. And that like somehow you're homophobic if you're not that. And I'm like, no, like I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I just don't get down that way. That's all.
They said y'all can take a dick but can't take a joke. Like that's one of my biggest issues. That's like one of my biggest issues as of recently in life is the fact that like comedy has been stripped away from like what comedy can be. What is it? I was watching like Bring the House Down or Tear the House Down with Queen Latifah and Steve Martin, and one of the neighbors came across the street. Yeah, so she was fixing the little boy Robbie, and she was like, "Robbie, you look like a fag," because of the way his hair was. And my little cousin looked at me. He was like, "What?" And I was like, "Wow, we can't just have movies." Oh yeah, my bad. Pause. But we can't have movies that have those like stabbing jokes because now a whole community will get offended. And it's like, get out your bag of feelings. Take your hand out the cookie jar. Like, get over yourselves. Y'all are not the most important figures on this planet. Y'all feelings. Y'all have to get used to getting hurt, because I remember the bully would come around and start baking kids, and if you couldn't keep up with getting baked, your ass sat there feeling really salty and shitty. And so it's like, chill out. Like, understand that, not everything is supposed to be comforting. That's another thing, is like with this censorship, we've taken away harsh words and the harsh, the harshness of certain things. And so therefore, softening up the language will soften a person up, and they won't be able to fully express themselves and how they perceive or certain things of that value.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right.
I was watching Aladdin the other day, and like there's a disclaimer that comes up now on it that says like there are things in here that
Castle
depict certain cultures.
Castle may be a dick.
No, not that. No, it's not about that. That's the funny thing. It's not about that stuff. It's not about their little subliminal messaging. No, they're like certain cultures are depicted in a way that they shouldn't be depicted. Blah, blah. It was wrong then and it's wrong now, but we're not going to remove the content because we still want to make money off of it.
Right.
We're not going to remove it. We think it's important to stimulate this conversation with keeping this content alive. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, like you're so full of shit. Like you're virtue signaling on the front end, and then you're like, hey, look, this may be offensive. You may see some stuff that you don't want to see. It's like a when you see when you were a kid and you would see a movie that would come on HBO or Cinemax, something like that, and it would be like okay. It's got the N and it's got the S. Nudity and sexual content. Let's go. It was like a morning. It was like all right. When do I do it? So it was just funny to me to see that where you're right. They've taken some of that stuff that was like, dude, like some of it's just funny. Like get the fuck over it. Like and then the funny thing is there's certain people who it's totally okay to say typical shit about them. And then there's other people that you can't say stereotypical shit about them. And then there's these other people who you can't say anything about. Right. Anyway, we weren't gonna get into that, but it really comes story for another day.
Yeah, it really comes down to if you're comfortable. That's right. It's Skinamax. But it really depends on the person, though. Like my buddy Jason, he's queer as a $3 bill, and that dude, I mean, he really is, dude. Jason's great people. Chad, did you get a chance to meet him in New Orleans? He was like our maid at the at the crib. Did you meet Jason? Chad?
Oh, me? When?
Yeah, in New Orleans, Jason. He was he was a Filipino.
So I didn't see y'all at the Airbnb. I was
you didn't go to the Airbnb?
You don't want to friend now.
I came in.
He was
no, it wasn't that. But they had it was like look, seriously, it was like a 5-bedroom
room.
It was a 5-bedroom and they had like 18 people in there. I
got my own bedroom, dude. I was good. I hooked up with the campaign, so I got me my own room that everybody fucking walked through.
But anyway.
But anyway, yeah. So Jason is queer as a $3 bill. Great guy. Amber described him best. He's like an old lady in a man's body. Absolutely true. One of the best people in the world. And he's comfortable with who he is. He is happy to be who he is. He is a gay man, and he's happy as that. And he does not get all that offended. Great guy. You know, funny's funny. And I make fun of this dude all the time, know, because he and I are friends, and he knows that we're just friends, and I might fuck with him here and there, but he fucks with me. You know, I'm a fat white dude.
Right.
You know, I look like a hillbilly right now. This dude could have a field day with me. So that's part of it. That's part of what it means to be friends. Yeah. Well, that's what it means. That's what it means to be friends, is to bust each other's balls and to have a good time.
Balls.
Right?
No, but yes. No, I mean that's the thing. And so the Twitter account of Car Options Gang Carl was one of the things he talked about. He's like, look, I have friends I think he grew up in Brooklyn or something. I mean, he's from New York. Like, it's a whole different thing than most people experience. Where he's like, no, basically the way that shit goes is you better come correct with your crackbacks, because if you don't have it, you're gonna be the one who's gonna be the brunt of the joke. So all about this, and what it does is it sharpens everyone's wit, because you have to be quick with the wit, otherwise you're gonna get destroyed. And it's funny, some of that stuff. He's like, I have these tons of gay friends, and we would bust on each other the hardest. But it was we gave each other hell. We gave each other hell, and it was. But everybody was in. God, this is so bad. Everybody was in on it. But anyway, I'm sorry, Carl.
So Chad just needs to come out the closet tonight.
But you know what I mean. There's with family culture and stuff like that, and different people from different states and everything. And we had this one where some real idiot moves and he goes from Louisiana to Texas. And so then somebody from another state's like, damn, he improved the IQ of both states, and so it's so whichever state he moved from, that's where you get to he was dumb. Right. He's really dumb. So he improved the IQ here by leaving, and he improved the IQ of Texas by going there, because he's smarter than that thing. But that's the kind of, and then they back over the top with something else, and that's just how it is. So anyway.
Right. Yeah. And that's just it. It is about fun. And that's what they've removed.
Saul said he's clipping it. Fuck y'all, man. I'm gonna have to start banning people from the fucking chat.
Hell no. But yeah, that's what this shit's about, man. You got to learn to laugh, and
for sure.
The more they keep us just sad and fearful, the less good shit's going to be in our lives. Stop fucking with that shit. Laugh, have fun. You know, part of freedom is being joyous. And goddamn, stop fucking worrying about Trump's dumbass and start worrying about your laughing ass and trying to have fun.
Yeah, fucking have fun. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's the solution to all this stuff. We got to laugh of and like just assert our own freedom better.
Yep.
So I mean, if I start being the quote unquote patriarchal male, you know, and I get banned, it's because of you boys. And,
that's right. I take full credit.
And then you go to Libre, exclusively, and you go to Gab and all that kind of stuff, and then you know it's all I told my son, like, look, man, you need to go set up a Gab account because your Twitter shit's about to get destroyed. Like, it's just he does this shit on TikTok too, where he'll say shit. Like, I'm like, man, you gotta.
Oh wait, my little brother showed me this TikTok.
I'd have
this Asian dude who was like, he was like, I'm not homophobic. I was just born proper or something like that. And I'm like, my little brother's asking me like, are you like, does it make you homophobic if you just don't like the LGBTQ? And I'm like, no, you know, that's just that stupid ass idea that they put in your head. And it makes no sense because I don't align with a specific group does not mean that I, you know, I'm disrespecting them off the rip. Like, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. Have fun with that. But at the end of the day, like, don't force your morals and your quote unquote values, your crooked values into my life. Like, nah, that's just so like as of recently, like my little brothers, we were at breakfast looking up all the people that they decided to turn gay and things of that nature in kid shows. And so like like they turned like two of my favorite little heroes in a show called Hunter x Hunter gay, supposedly, and it was pushed on by the fans. And granted, people are saying it's not real or whatnot, but at the end of the day, the fans have that control, that power to try and push a narrative because somebody wants them to. One and two, they're kids. Why does it fucking matter what sexuality that they are? Why push this idea, this ideology? And like it just goes on and on with all these kids shows saying, oh, you know what? We're gonna make this person gay. Or matter of fact, the biggest one that actually pissed me off was finding out this new Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, is about to be gay or bisexual or whatnot. And I'm like, in the previous movies, you saw him, you saw him pork, or you didn't see him pork, but you saw him give the work to Mary Jane, and then he went to Gwen Stacy, and now all of a sudden he's like, I like boys. So it's like, why? Like it's the force, it's the forcing of it. So like now they got this this Marvel show where like they got lesbians and things of that nature, and like they're coming out with the first black transsexual superhero, and I'm like,
well, then they have I think DC has like a non-binary like androgynous kid Flash or something too. It's like they're doing all and look, so back to reset again, like if you feel that way and that's how you feel like you're supposed to be or whatever, like I'm not trying to stop you or anything like that. What I have a problem with is that you have this massive population of people and it's not even the tail wagging the dog. It's like the end of the tail. It's like a fraction of a fraction of a population that is the only people who are like vocal, shaming people into pushing this type of narrative and everything, like insisting on having this where it's to the point now where you'd swear if you watch TV and movies, you'd swear like, I don't know, a third, 2/3 of the population is gay, transgendered, or like, not quite sure which direction or anything like that. And it's even close to that. And what's troubling about it is that back to this thing that Ebony brought up about China is that like, this is not just about like letting people be who they want to be. This is about programming people to think that they might be something that they're not.
Right.
And it weakens them to the point of like confusion. You're putting hormones and you're having surgeries and doing all this stuff to your body. That like, if you went to the doctor and said, "Hey, I find the headless horseman, I want to be beheaded," they would say, "We need to take this kid to a psychiatrist and start having him go through therapy." If you say, "I identify as a woman, cut my dick off," it's not the same response. Like, it's still mutilation of your body, and like we're taking this stuff to be something that is not just like, hey, live and let live. It's, I don't think that you are sensitive enough to how people are living. So what we're going to do is we're going to inundate you with it and put it in your face to where now you're going to have people who wouldn't have otherwise been so inclined are going to be potentially more kind of thinking like, well, you know what? I think girls are stupid. I'm 6. I want to be a princess. Maybe I'm a girl. Let's cut my dick off. And I'm sorry, but do y'all remember like when you went through that stage when you were a little boy? And
no, I don't remember wanting to cut my dick off.
You don't remember having that part?
I'm sorry, Chad. That's you.
No, but do you remember the part? Do you remember the time when you thought girls had cooties, girls were gross and everything, and it went from like that to like maybe like over the summer, it was like, God damn, girls are fucking amazing. Look at her. You know what I mean? Like,
I had a different upbringing. I was kissing girls in preschool, bro.
That's right, Daryl. Insert Buffy's statement.
Well, one thing that is really annoying is like if you were to watch any HBO show or HBO or Stars show, one thing they always have to implement is a gay sex scene. Mm-hmm. Like that's just the staple now.
Usually lesbian. What I find hilarious is they get to be all like high and mighty. Look, we're inclusive. Let's have a comic.
Yeah, but they know they don't want to put two dudes together because they know that
there's two chicks that are hot, smoking hot, making out. Right. That's not pandering to the comic book fandom at all.
It's never the goal with like half her hair shaved on this side and like a mullet and I'm in the back on the other side. She's like 5'3", 260, and she's got like cargo shorts, Doc Martens on with a chain hanging. No, it's not that.
No, because they don't want to see that shit, and they want to pretend like they're all we're enlightened. Yeah, go fuck yourself. But again, it really does come down to force. The problem again is that they're forcing that shit on us. If somebody wants to do some shit, okay, go get your dick off like Chad wants to. But it's about choice and it's about freedom. It's about, having to be an adult and make adult decisions. And these people in power, whether you're talking about Hollywood or you're talking about the people in DC, they're the people in power, and they want to make you believe the way they do by force.
Yeah, or by like inundation.
Look,
like
this podcast took a turn, and we are about to start losing patrons. I apologize for everybody and these two wanting to chop off their willies. I'm out here.
No, I'm not. I'm
on record. No willy chopping.
This thing with Dylan. I ain't trying to grab nobody. I ain't trying to cut nobody's dick off. Like, I'm not grabbing anybody's old ass or anything like that.
Right. Oh man.
God damn.
I don't condone any of this. I'm just here to look. We're talking about the powers of Kabbalah now on. All right, so
there you go. There you go. That's right. That's right.
Some him fresh.
But no, so where do we go from here? Like, what's the so
where's the segue? Where do we segue?
Because you're like, where are we going from here?
Yeah. No, I meant like wise, not like what's the next big thing, anything like that. I would like to, we got like that. I would like to get questions from the audience.
Cool.
So y'all start dropping the questions in there, but while we wait for that, so from a solution standpoint, there are some groups, and like what you were talking about, Market, where there's like a group of like men or whatever that are doing more like of that rite of passage for boys becoming men. There's a group that that my boys did for a little while. It was hard for me to do because I travel so much. But it's called Conquest. Now this is a very Christian Catholic organization, but they would have retreats. We'd together for they do like a camp for like a week, and it was a combination teaching the boys virtues, and like you got points and stuff. Like you were on teams, and your teams got points for fulfilling the different virtues and everything, honesty, integrity, all these different things, courage and all that stuff. But then they also we'd go canoe riding, and they would just let the boys just go wild in the woods. Like if you wanted to try climb a line or something like that, they just let them do it. There wasn't that helicopter mommy nanny sort of energy around it's dangerous, don't do that. No, y'all want to throw rocks and play with knives and all that kind of stuff. We're here, we're adults, we're here, don't be stupid, but you're be boys, fucking do your thing.
Anybody got questions?
No, I think Jonesy's got a question.
Questions.
Jonesy's got a question.
Got questions. You have to get questions this whole episode, Chad. Rest in peace, Chad.
Oh. I like how Jonesy didn't say smoke him if you got him. He said smoke me if you got him. No thanks.
But
shit.
So yeah, I'm all about answering some questions. So if y'all want to drop them in,
can we also recap that people are actually wearing double mask out here? Can I just point out that's a real. So I've been working at a church, or working with the church community center. We're passing out food, and we're passing out food, and I don't even have my mask on. I'm passing out these big old boxes of food, and I saw somebody in their car. As soon as I open up their door, they put both their masks up. I'm like, bro, why you got your mask on in the car in the first place? It's really agitating that people will gung ho follow suit with whatever they're being told. Going back to the conversation earlier, if they lie to you about history, and history is one of the most important things that is ever valuable in life, I would say, it shows you and teaches you how people are in general, their societies, the way they think, the way they move. And if you look at how we're moving and you compare us to some older societies, people would really start to wake up and see this shit is no bueno. This shit really is no bueno. But instead, we're worrying about the little things, the stupid things, we about to be bubbled boy up in a second. You'll catch me rolling around like a hamster, damn it.
Right? Terrible. Yeah, and the thing is, we haven't even seen the damage.
Y'all fucking teenage. Gosh, so stupid. Fucking children, man. Come on. Jonesy's influence. He always has to take everything to some other place. Fuck. Anyway. Does anybody have any questions? If y'all have any questions, we'll wrap this bitch up because I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You share to the thread of the Patreon. Go to AquarianAnarchy.com. You see it right above me. Right above me. It's mirrored, right, so I can't see. Anyway,
you got it. You got it.
Go there to the. I know I can see it. I'm just saying when I move my hand, it's the opposite of where I think it's going to go.
Right.
So
yeah, and I feel
where the hell is stimulus? Fuck, I don't know. That's a good question. He wants to smoke you. He wants you to smoke him if you got him. So maybe the stimulus is there. It's look, you got to be here for these jokes. These are the jokes. All I got.
Right. Well, the thing is, but to Daryl's stimulus question, I'm gonna quote real quick because this has to do with money, and I'm going to use a new quote. Kwame Ture, I do not want to be a part of this American pie. The American pie means raping South Africa, beating Vietnam, beating South America, raping the Philippines, raping every country you've been in. I don't want any of your blood money. I don't want to be part of your system, of that system, sorry. We must question whether or not we want this country to continue being the wealthiest country in the world at the price of raping everyone else. So the answer is they're getting ready to send your stimulus check, Daryl, over to either Iran or Syria, whoever the hell they decide to bomb this year, because Biden's about to bomb some motherfuckers, and they're probably going to be brown. So get ready.
They are brown. We already know that they're going to be brown. You know he won't shoot on his brethren. You better stop it. Pause. If that's possible. Whatever. But the point being is that, you know, as soon as, and it's going to get vicious and ugly. They're taking away our guns so that they can get ready and go poke another fucking bear with a stick. So, and then on top of that, they're selling us around the corner. Man, America, I pray for thee and however long you stand.
Well, not very much longer. And the thing is, that kind of wraps into what I did the last couple of weekends with Cal Exit. And for everybody that knows, I live in Indiana, but I have friends that are in California, and they invited me to participate in their Cal Exit Congress. And they're serious about doing this, about leaving America, and I support them because everyone should have the ability to withdraw their support from any government that no longer serves them. And this government certainly doesn't serve us. So the answer to all of these problems is we need to become our own sovereign. We need to become anarchs. We need to own ourselves, and we need to put this bullshit that is government behind us.
Word. We gotta and we also have to be we talked about earlier, like when we're talking about the influence on other people and about, I don't know, whether it's okay to do this in this sort of, I don't know, angry and like vindictive sort of way, or just to remember that we kind of gear through a weird path too, and recognize that other people might be on a weird path, you know, like and so like respect their path and try to help them along that path, invitation rather than with the stick, you know, more carrot, less stick, because that's what really impacts people. I'm going to throw that quote up on the screen because I went and found it. So because it's a really good one. And I'll remove the banner out the way real quick so you can see his murder at the bottom. But there it is. There's the quote that Marcus just read from the venerable Kwame Ture. So that's something that I can definitely get down with. That was a good quote. I'm glad you read that one again.
Yeah, and the thing is, ever since looking into that dude, man, he's not right about everything, but fuck, I love me some Benjamin Franklin, for example. He ain't right about everything. It just is what it is. And but he's right about a lot more shit than he's wrong about, for sure. So I'm still digging.
And it's about, and even like some of the stuff that you know you're talking about when you're talking about like the economic stuff. A lot of, I think where some of that stuff where it's more what would be called socialist or anything like that is sort of similar to like the kind of like the America First. You know, it's like it's more about like group economics around like black economics and like, hey, let's work together and let's help each other out because we don't need to be pushing each other down, killing each other, or doing any of this stuff and stepping over each other to like appeal to the white people or that. Like, and that's the thing. You look at some of the other cultures around the world. America has this this melting sort of thing, which is both blessing and curse. It's great in that we get to experience all these different cultures from all over the world, but it's a negative in that we don't really have our own culture, so to speak. That is like first of all, it's a really, really young country in the grand scheme of things worldwide, but also you have so many different influences that it's hard to say that like this is undeniably American and not influenced by these other things.
Right.
But you look at some of the places go around the world where concentration of people from another culture in America, and there's a very strong fiber and fabric of group economics around that community. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's like back to the thing that we talked about with freedom of association and true anarchy, like localization and libertarianism. When you are able to create that sort of group economic structure voluntarily, and you're not prevented from doing that because you're having bullshit epithets thrown at you for being racist, being xenophobic, or any of this other kind of crap, then you actually get to build something that is a threat to people who are trying to just keep all the shit in their family.
Right.
So that's why epithets get thrown around, I think.
For sure. It's definitely divide and conquer, keep us separated, keep us fighting each other, you know, and I don't even fuck with it anymore. Like if somebody gets shitty with me on Twitter, I'm gonna block the fuck out. Don't even I don't even fuck with them. I mean, shut the fuck up. You know, like this week, somebody was like, oh, you know, it was some meme that had nothing to do with economics, but because it was on yellow and black, he's like, oh, you guys are some ANCAPs and I'm an ANCOM and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what? Right. I don't have time for some dumb shit.
That's why I did that thing when you sent me this shirt. By the way, thank you again. Marcus sent me this for my birthday. That was cool. Speaking of which, I have to tell everybody, Marcus's birthday is in how many days do we have?
It's Sunday.
4. We got 4 days till Marcus's birthday. Yeah. Marcus's birthday is Valentine's Day, y'all. So send Marcus some love. Remember to send Marcus some love, and I'm gonna have to talk when we get off of here about what I can do to kind of return the favor. But anyway, I played the song to this because I was like this is the colors. But a lot of times it's like that. It's almost that ANCOM ANCAP thing or ANSOC. It's like a gang warfare thing. Dude, just chill the fuck out. Like let's find the thing we agree on. And like if you want to have a communist society when we actually achieve freedom, do your thing. Just don't fucking come bring that shit on me because I'm like I'll do my own little version of like mini communism with my family, stuff like that, where I take my kids, I'll make my kids like, sorry kid, you don't get to eat today because you didn't work hard enough or you didn't pay me. No, we all do our own little voluntary versions, both communism and capitalism thing. We're all like a combination of both. You really think about it. And all this like dispute stuff is bullshit. It's really fucking bullshit, and it's not helping us get any closer to freedom. So Jonesy had a real good question. We actually I appreciate you, Jonesy, for not like doing all the dumb shit and actually coming with a really good question. Like finally, no, seriously, thank you, Jonesy. So he said, is it able to change something born and bred in violence into something righteous? That's a really good question. So what do you?
I was contemplating on that the whole time. The only thing is that I can come up with it would be nature. I mean, no movement that I understand. Well, the Black Panther movement. I mean, if you take in consideration, it's a movement that it's not necessarily about violence, but it's about you know, um, taking back, I guess, what was stripped away from Black men, and that's the masculinity trait. Being protectors and being valid. Um, I would have said the Bible, but it was born and bred in blood in certain aspects. The Puritan time, and you had it have a change, but now the narrative is changing back because after that first flip, they were like, "Well, forgive us for our sins. We're good people. This that," but then it's getting flipped around because history is starting to show itself. But the only thing that I would ever really would understand, oh yeah, it wasn't born in violence. So yeah, no. And then you get the gang communities. Gangs were originally protectors of their communities. Now they're violent individuals, they're violent families, and take over communities. I wouldn't know.
For me, I appreciate that, Nico. For me, I'd say almost everything is born in violence. When you're talking about societal stuff, I mean, we live, the government is a violent monopoly of force and violence. It is violence. All of us are born and bred in violence. It is by making ethical decisions based on free thinking that we are able to break that. And I think that it's also in many ways, we talked about this last weekend, and I've discussed it with Adam Kokesh as well, similar or last week with Trey. But a lot of activists start off very angry and very mad and come from a violent place. And at times that can be very good for the person, and good for their development because they're angry and they have something.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
Right. And they have something to be angry about. Much of what the upheaval that happened in the 60s, as an example, actually started with lots of anger and lots of being mad at the system as it was. But I think that is one stage of a development. And so society, if that is true and that is a pattern, then society is following that pattern. It was born in violence. It was born to all of these negative things, whether you're talking about monarchy or oligarchy or any of those other kinds of realities. And we are moving. And this can be, Adam likes to point out the studies by Steven Pinker, where it shows that violence is on a decline. Now, and Walter,
there's some disputes around that. I still think that there's enough evidence that it's a different. We live in a different type of world than the random somebody just would come and destroy your house, kill you, and everything, and take all your shit just for out of the blue.
Right, we're definitely not there yet, for sure.
Right.
But I think we're moving there. So the answer is that I think that almost everything comes from is born and bred in violence, and it is on us to make the reasonable exit.
Interesting. So I was actually thinking more in terms of the thing that I think I don't think human beings now. We're faced with nature. Yes, there's a certain element of defense and that sort of stuff, and the strong survive, all that kind of shit. But I think that generally human beings, if you trace it back far enough, more of a cooperative. That's what kind of kept us alive and helped us to survive. And back to that book that I read, the Righteous Mind, it talks about how if you go back far in human history and in the evolutionary history of humans, that you'll actually find that it was the ability to cooperate and to to coordinate efforts that helped humanity survive and to evolve to the point that it has now. And that it was, I would argue that when tyrants start to assert themselves through their own fear or through just their ability to be like, hey, look, I can just have more shit. It's like as a Bastille, the political means versus the military means. The political means being, I don't feel like working for it. So I'm just going to stick you up and be like, hey, give me all your money. Cool. Now I have your money. That sort of thing. So when you look at how government kind of is created, and the propaganda is brilliant because they've convinced us that it's otherwise. That was born out of violence because it was strictly about asserting ownership over an area or a group of people, and then starting to assert that ownership. Did I freeze up?
No.
Oh, okay, I heard. But anyway, asserting that ownership over people that they had no right to assert that ownership over, and propagandizing those people into believing that this was freedom, and also this was them enslaving themselves. Like we've convinced ourselves that like this is us choosing this for ourselves, and it's like, no, other people are choosing this shit for us, and then they're saying, all right, do you want the hot poker in your ass or in your eyeballs? And it's like, I don't want either. No hot poker.
Right.
Leave me the fuck
no
alone.
hot poker for me.
Right. So anyway, I'm going to shift to Daryl real quick while we have like 10 minutes left. Top 3 anarchs, dead or alive. This is a great question.
I would be able. I wouldn't be able. I haven't studied like that, so that's all you boys. I'm gonna take notes. I'm gonna take some notes.
All right.
Hold on, wait. I got.
Hit it, Marcus.
My top 3 are probably. Chad, can you guess? Because I'm betting you can.
I'm gonna say. All right. So I'm gonna go with Spooner, Payne, Rothbard.
Yep, that's my 3.
Okay.
That's it right there. For me, that's my top 3. And
that's kind of mine too. Like I might find somebody else that might be I might be able to make an argument for, but it's hard. It's hard to argue with anyone outside of those 3.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like though any of those 3 are perfect. Rothbard comes close, but it's not that any of them are perfect. But man, they got it, and they got just about everything, And so for me, those 3. Now, if we start talking about people that are alive, I don't know. I like Adam a lot, but I don't know that he's one of the top anarchs in the world right now. He's a great dude. Adam Kokesh, I don't know that he's a great guy, but I don't know that he'd be one of the top 3. I like Tom Woods a lot, but I don't know that he'd be, but I'm sure they exist. But I think the best anarch is going to be somebody that nobody's ever known, nobody's ever heard of. He's not got a podcast. He's off living in the woods somewhere by himself with his family growing. Right. Yeah. So
good choices, Jonesy. I like it. All right. So I'm going to take this question from Daryl, and then I want Nico to go next. And then Marcus, I'll let you kind of round this one out. So this is our next question here. So Daryl brought us another good one. Can you make a good case for government? I can. So here's my good case for government. So if you watched, whenever you played tag at recess, or you played touch football or something like that, or you play pickup basketball, my case for government is the government that exists in those types of situations. Because if you think about it, we are under a form of government when we're playing pickup basketball on the court. Okay, we call our own fouls. You respect someone's call, and when there's a dispute about the call, you shoot for it, and you live and die by that decision, and that's it. And everybody accepts it, and nobody's pointing guns at each other. Nobody's forcing each other to do anything. We all agree that these are the rules on which we will be able to enjoy ourselves, testing our physical ability to compete this game against each other, and really knowing whether we are better than the other guy or not better than the other guy, and we respect the outcome of that. And if we don't like the outcome, we run it back again. We say, oh, let's do it again. Run it again. Let's go. And that's the kind of thing where everybody kind of buys in, and it's all voluntary, and you're agreeing to play by those rules, and you respect each other, on a voluntary basis. And that is still a government. It's just all voluntary. It's completely voluntary. And I realize that a very small, it's kind of back to like the idea of like socialism. That's a form of socialism if you think about it. It's the voluntary type. And that's why I think that socialism outside of something like that, when you start to get to, imagine if you had a city-wide basketball tournament. Well, now, you might have some things where like one court over here has a different set of rules from this court over here, and then you're coming together at the end, and it's like, well, we've been playing, we don't play 3-pointers, or we're playing 1s and 2s, or all this kind of stuff, and you get all these different rules. So the bigger it gets, the harder it gets to not centralize some sort of authority that then ends up forcing itself and it's still on other people. So that's why, again, to localization and keeping things smaller, I think, is the answer, and keeping it voluntary, like a game of basketball, is the better way to do it. And then back to Adam, I love this thing that he said. We're coming off of Super Bowl Sunday this weekend. Sports are much better when more people are playing them than watching them. We need to get back out to playing sports instead of sitting on our ass and drinking beer and watching sports. So that's my piece. Go, man.
I would give it to the only government that I subscribe to would be nature, which is a dictatorship and all of that. But that's the only thing I could subscribe to other than yours. With all of my understanding of how tribes work, and you could take this to the Native Americans, before the white man decided to come and take their constitution and make it their own. So it's what Jonesy said is the perversion of the human, the humanity, and how it's taken and twisted and skewed in a different light. Nature is my best bet when it comes to how things should be ran and in a society or whatnot. I was reading up on the philosophies of Ma'at, where the ancient Kemetics had a lot of respect for a dung beetle, the little beetle that pushed shit around, because it's not just the perception of, oh, it's a beetle that lays its eggs and some shit and pushes it. No, it sees it as they saw it as a form of life, as in it's a manifestation of life. So they took the science into the aspect. So therefore the beetle put their eggs into the ball, and it's pushing it, and it always pushes it towards the sun. So therefore the sun creates a reaction within that the ball of crap, that fermentation process that helped create and give birth to life. And so it's been funny how it's been skewed, the ideology of nature. We say that, oh, well, Hurricane Katrina came and killed this, that, and so we demonize and we give a negative nature to nature, the negative connotation to nature. In all actuality, nature just doing its job. Nature is just doing its job and living its life, and how it's so cookie cut. But nature is always changing, so it can be cookie cut now, but with evolution, and granted, with time, but time is relative to us in this 3D plane. You just, it's so many things, there's so many variables to that government being true, and it's nature is not nice. You a shark out here, and guess what? Your mama want to eat you. And guess what? And then guess what? Your brothers are trying to kill you too. So it's like there's so many things. There's so many things that nature points to and being a proper leading, possibly community, not just community, but possibly of the way of life. And there's so many things that are symbolically placed within it that people just see past and just see it as, you know, a cat down the road.
Yeah, and there's order in it too. Yeah.
For sure. Although I do have to point out, you made a comparison between a piece of shit and government. I agree.
That was great. That was great. And Joe said that wasn't nature. That was the heart machine. And I don't disagree.
So we do need to wrap this up. It's been a good 2 hours. Again, back to Chad's point. Thank you all for sticking with us here. Thanks for being our patrons and for being just our audience. We appreciate you. We appreciate your helping us out and in your comments or the $10 super chat thing we got today. Woo!
Yeah.
About it.
That's
And,
great.
right. And we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to offer solutions to the problems that are generally started by the state or made worse by the state. And we're going to come at it with a smile. We're going to come at it with love, and we're going to come at it with compassion. So please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell icon. Go to our Patreon channel. And as Chad likes to say, 2 shares to speed the spread.
That is right.
Of this podcast.
Yes. And I have to say one thing before we leave. So Jonesy and Natasha both said that humans ruin everything. And so while I will agree to a point that humans have ruined a lot of things, I challenge us to all call on our greater sense of humanity, like our best humanity, to not be that, to not ruin things, and to be the humanity that saves us, that brings light into the world, that brings love into the world, brings peace and freedom into the world. And we do that by asserting ourselves, but also by being compassionate enough to bring people along with us. And so that's, I really think that we have the opportunity to do that, and that ultimately, the conquers all. And I really believe that. I really think that in the end, we win. Good wins the battle. We just have to put enough of our own weight and our own effort behind that, and do it with love. So.
Thanks.
Amen.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I appreciate everybody for being out here and supporting us and joining in on the conversation. It was a great conversation. So
thanks. Much appreciated.
With that,
much love to everybody.
Yeah, for real. With that,
much love.
Stay free, my friends. Peace.
Stay free.
Peace.